Hi, my name is Ruben. In this series of videos, I walk you through the sample Pool Doctors application that I developed for the introduction of Gennaro Mobile. In this particular video, I'm going to look at the user interface resources, such as the 4SD, 4TB, and 4AD files that are loaded for the application. So first I'll just show you in the 4GL where these are loaded. So in the main.4GL, we load up the style sheet and we load up the action defaults. So calling the load styles method and the load action defaults method. And then the individual open windows, I may load up a toolbar. So typically for the list routines, I load up the list toolbar. I'll look at the list toolbar first because that's the simplest. Basically it's telling us that we've got the append, toggle, order, and filter buttons in our toolbar. And if we run our application, get to a list screen, append, toggle, order, filter buttons in the toolbar being displayed for the window. So each time we open these type of windows, we load up this toolbar. And that just means that we get a nice consistent user interface across the bottom of the application of where the user can tap and do those particular actions in a list. Next one I want to look at is the 4SD style. So that was loaded right at the beginning of the program. And for our mobile application, there isn't much here at the moment, but the key things I need to note is to open a window, have a style set for windows of type dialog, and set that to modal. And for the toolbar separator, set the iOS separator stretch value to 1. So that means that those icons there stretch out across the toolbar rather than perhaps being displayed adjacent to each other on the left-hand side. The modal window or the dialog window comes into play with the product zoom window. So when we're adding a product, we select a product, you can see there it's zoomed up from the bottom as opposed to the left to right transition we've sort of got going with all the other windows. So they're the two simple ones, the toolbar and the 4SD, nice and small. And they're just standard XML files. The 4AD file, it's got a little bit more data in it. What this enables us to do is have configuration of our actions, but take it out of our source. So we can, by referencing the actions in the action default file here, specifying the text, specifying the image, I don't need to recompile my application for any changes. Whenever there's an on action inside the code with an on action name, so I'll just find one for us. What am I in? Toolbar list, yep, there should be one there. Display array, so on action toggle, or on action filter, on action order, on action select. Any of those actions, we should find an entry for them inside this 4AD, and here we've got our text and our image defined for them. So on Android, we're more likely to see the text than we are on iOS, and the image will be device dependent. So that's why I've got iOS and Android versions of the same file, just so that we can load up an appropriately sized image depending on the device. So if we go back to our main.4gl, we'll see that we load up different action default files depending on the front end. Okay, so that's the quick introduction to the user interface resources. We've kept them nice and simple for 4SDs and 4TBs, and they're a bit more complex for the action defaults. But yeah, it means you can take code, the definitions outside of your 4GL, and put them into these XML files. Another thing to note with most of them, I haven't done it, but these action defaults and the TBs could be defined inside the .per files or the form files as well, but it's, in my opinion, it's better to centralize them out here in these 4AD inside these separate files, and then you can reuse those same files over and over again.